J.K. Rowling is a lightning rod for bad news and controversy abound. Twitter activists call for boycott of new Harry Potter Max series. They say, quote, "We don't want to give that turf J.K. Rowling any more money." That turf. Look, these people are going to be just as, like, you think the people complaining about Bud Light are loud. These people are going to be even louder, just more terminally online. Right? I think that the people boycotting Bud Light will have an easier time not buying Bud Light and just finding another beer than these people who are like addicted to Harry Potter but hate J.K. Rowling will have, trying to disconnect themselves from Harry Potter when they clearly love it.
Are they actually going to cancel their HBO Max or I guess Max subscriptions?
These people just torrent it anyways. Yeah. These people aren't paying for HBO Max. Samuel says,
really?
I'm sure they are.
I don't know.
Samuel says, just a friendly reminder that J.K. Rowling is basically the leader of the trans genocide campaign. Please. But sure, enjoy your precious Harry Potter at the expense of trans lives. Thanks, HBO Max, for showing me your true effing colors. Your hyperbole is embarrassing.
You're talking to HBO Max, a mega corporation, like it's your friend who just showed you their true effing colors.
But this is one of.
Did you have a falling out with Warner Brothers Discovery?
He's like he knows both of the brothers in the Warner Brothers. Like he's friends with both of them, and this is one of my problems.
They were childhood friends.
Yeah, this is one of my problems that I've had with people for long before I became politically awakened and aware. I always wondered why people expected corporations to act like people. They're not going to act like people. They're never going to act like people. They're going to go where the money is, or in a lot of cases these days, they're going to go where the ESG funding is, I guess. But for this, I was like, well, what do you expect them to do? Like, this is what's going to happen. Judy Blume, 85-year-old geriatric Judy Blume, has to issue an apology because she thinks the backlash against J.K. Rowling is over the top.
It's just wild.
Yeah, that was a bizarre development. She said she had 100% support for J.K. Rowling. Yeah. Which, I mean, she was aware of the context of saying that when she said it. Yeah. But then this is what she posted on Twitter after her interview. "I wholly support the trans community. My point, which was taken out of context, is that I can empathize with a writer or person who has been harassed online. I stand with the trans community and vehemently disagree with anyone who does not fully support equality and acceptance of LGBTQIA+ people.
She does not know what that means. She's 85.
Is total BS." And then she posted an excerpt from a different interview that she did where she was like talking about how there should be books that address gender and sexuality in kids' libraries. So, yeah, I don't really sympathize with this person.
And reading this, I'm seeing this person says, let's get a timeline here, and it's talking about how Daniel Radcliffe started working with the Trevor Project. The Trevor Project was never specifically about trans rights. It's not because he's supporting trans stories to be heard, as they say in this mention here. It's like that's not what it was. Trevor Project was about LGBTQ and like suicide and suicide prevention, which is not. It's just a false equivalency.
Well, because they've billed themselves as an anti-suicide campaign rather than anything specifically having to do with like transgender or whatever.
Yeah.
Anything they do then is shielded by that. Yeah. Anything that the Trevor Project does or supports or advocates for is shielded by the message that they're anti-suicide. And it's like, if you disagree with them about anything, they're like, oh, you want people to...
you're pro-suicide, huh?
Yeah, you want people to hurt themselves? Like, that's the disingenuous angle they come from.
I mean, that's where...
And now Daniel Radcliffe's bizarre sponsorship deal with them or whatever it is.
It's where names like...
continues.
It's why there's power behind names like Black Lives Matter. Because if you push back on the group, they're like, so what you're saying
is... you don't care about Black lives. Right.
So this person, I Had a Pony on Twitter, says, of course Judy Blume is a TERF because nothing can ever be good in this world. Dude, the idea that you can expect an 85-year-old woman to share all of your beliefs and then be angry when she doesn't is the height of privilege and delusion.
Regarding the HBO Max show, Quinn, they, them, said, I really hope people actually boycott HBO Max over this stupid effing Harry Potter show. No one asked for that. They did, though. And we sure as F don't want to give that turf any more money. Cancel your account and give that money to a trans organization instead. And for those of you who don't see why this is an issue or don't want to miss your shows that are currently on there, F you too.
See, at least the people that are boycotting Bud Light are hopeful. I mean, I thought the Kid Rock thing was cringy. Shooting the
There
Bud
was
Light.
a different country singer that just blew up a can of Bud Light on stage.
I think all of that is cringy. I do. I think it's super cringy.
How do we feel about boycotts and who is more capable of making them actually work?
I think in this case, I mean, when was the last time? Maybe chat can help me out on this. When was the last time a strong boycott led to something? I can't think of it off the top of my head. I'm sure there's a good example of it, right? Of a time when a boycott actually worked really well.
I mean, it must have been easier maybe before the internet was a factor and something affected a local community and they all felt the same way about it. But if you're asking people to boycott HBO Max over a niche issue that is really only talked about by people who are chronically online, then nothing is going to happen. Most people who are fans of Harry Potter have no clue or not a care in the world about J.K. Rowling's opinions on anything. Enough to cancel an HBO Max subscription. Right. That's a show that I'm guessing a lot of people are going to watch.
I can't remember the last time a strong boycott actually worked towards something. There's probably a good... I mean, I know that Dove, right, lost, or Gillette lost some market share when the Gillette boycott happened, I guess, but it's not like their products are still everywhere, right? Maybe they lost some market share, but most of those are owned by it's owned by like what, Johnson & Johnson or something like that, or some larger conglomerate.
Everything's owned by like 5 companies.
Yeah, so
which makes boycotting totally ineffectual.
Well, somebody did that. They pointed out. They said if you're gonna boycott, it wasn't Bud Light. What was the most recent thing that was boycotted before Bud Light? There was something else recently too that people were calling for a boycott of.
I probably memory hold it,
and
like
it was a drink of some, or was a drink, or was a food item of some sort. And then somebody pointed out like all of the items. It was like, was it Pepsi or
M&M's,
or M&M's, or
M&Ms,
okay.
it was M&Ms.
And on the list of things that were also owned by that company was like Skinny Pop popcorn.
Right.
And I was like, so everyone here loses. If you're boycotting them, you lost. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
there's no such thing as living in the modern world and not giving money to people who hate you.
Yeah,
kind of,
pretty much.
Like, or at the very least, it would require
select your battles accordingly.
Right, unless you like buy local everything, you know.
Yeah, which is kind of impossible.
It's really difficult to do.
It would require an insane amount of research to be done.
What are you going to do? Right. Drill for fossil fuels yourself and fill your car with them?
And it's not available everywhere. Like you can't, not everywhere in every local place. You can't buy like, let's just use a random example. You can't buy like milk everywhere because there's not a lot of dairies everywhere that are going to be producing milk for you. There's not a lot of people that are producing whatever kind of food. It's really difficult to do.
There are people from different walks of life, and if you want to have public intellectuals on your side, they usually live in cities, and you can't live in a city and buy local all the time.
Here's the other thing. Emma Watson also shaded J.K. Rowling on like her like weird birthday post where she like shouted out like people that have helped her in her life but didn't shout out J.K. Rowling, and shouted out all her witches again, which is like her slight at J.K. Rowling. Another thing is like right now, when you really think about it, any reporter that asks you a question, a public figure, a question about J.K. Rowling is putting a gun to your head. They're like, what are your thoughts on J.K. Rowling? And you're like, thank you for giving me a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, but I mean, the journalists kind of don't have a choice in asking about it. It's what everyone wants to know. It's
but I don't. Yeah, that 10 years, no, not even 10 years ago, 30 years ago, I might have given those journalists the benefit of the doubt that they weren't activists as well. Now I'm not giving them any such benefit of the doubt.
I'm not super curious about the Harry Potter show because I'm not a Harry Potter fan. Yeah. I'm more concerned with what the cultural shifts around it will in the conversation around it. Just like Hogwarts Legacy, I didn't buy Hogwarts Legacy. I don't play video games, but we talked a lot about it. And we're highly engaged in a conversation about it that is not relevant to 99.999%.
Not to normal people. They won't care about stuff like this. It's just so weird because they're so like boycott Bud Light all you want. Most of the people that are boycotting Bud Light don't have like a deep connection to Bud Light. But a lot of the people that are now boycotting Harry Potter have a deeply felt connection to the author and thus the product and thus the author.
Right, like all things are not the same. Exactly. Yeah. Like not all products are the same. A beer drinking dude that doesn't really, pay attention to the news and just, in West Virginia works in coal. He's buying Bud Light because he doesn't care.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know there's a boycott. He doesn't know any. He's like Dylan Mulhoovy.
Right.
Like he doesn't. I don't know who the hell that is. Like he's not looking on TikTok for videos of Dylan Mulvaney.
Exactly.
It's just happening. So.
Exactly.
But the people that are boycotting J.K. Rowling are terminally online. Therefore, they're more connected.
I think that as well. Like it's something that connects people's childhoods.
Yes.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's something that they grew up reading Harry Potter.
And nostalgia is very important right now.
At least within our age demographic. I'm looking at Mary to wonder did you ever read Harry Potter when you were a child?
I didn't. I wasn't allowed to watch or read it. So.
My mother was the same way. She didn't allow me to read it because it was witchcraft and that wasn't going to be in my house. But I did anyways. So at the same time, like it's getting to the point now where our generation, I would say, if we're the same generation, Brett, roughly, it's prescient now, but I don't think it will be in another 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 years. It'll be much less because even less people are going to be actually reading this. I don't know, do people in your generation that were like, not your generation as if it's so far removed, but did your peers during school, I know you went to Catholic school, correct?
And Protestant school.
Okay.
Which is even, like, I think their parents were even restricted.
Yeah, I went to Lutheran school for a while as well. Were they reading, people your age, were they reading Harry Potter?
I mean, it was like, we didn't talk about it. It was not relevant. They weren't allowed. No one I knew was allowed to watch it. I wasn't allowed to watch it. In fact, I was allowed to watch more things than they were most of the time. And so I don't have an accurate view of this. I'm sure if I went to secular schools, though, everyone would have been talking about it. It would have been really relevant.
It was extremely relevant to my generation.
Yeah,
and to your generation far more even.
Yes.
If I went to public school, I'm sure there would be a lot of Harry Potter fans, but it would have been a lot less than anyway.
Okay.
Like it's waned in relevance a little bit.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.